Om Shanti. At the confluence age, Baba makes us kings. He says, if you become a king at the confluence age, you will surely become a king in the future also. But what type of kings we have to become now? First of all, Baba says, you have to become the king of your senses. That is, ruler of your senses. Then you have to become the ruler of your mind. And then you have to become the ruler of everyone's heart. Only then you can become the ruler of the world. And for that, Baba says, how do you become the ruler of your senses and the mind and the hearts of others? For that, we should be able to become, first of all, self-sovereigns. Self-sovereigns includes many things. The self means the mind, intellect, sanskars. And therefore, when I'm able to rule over the self, means I'm able to rule not only over the senses, but also over my mind, over my intellect, over my sanskars. Only then can I rule over the hearts of others and then the world. So when I'm a ruler of my senses, it means the mind should be able to control the senses. Wherever the mind should order, there the senses should go. At present in Kali-yugi world of Kali-yuga, we see how the senses have become the rulers. Wherever the senses pull the mind, there the mind goes. Simple example. It's you go to a particular place like a museum or something and it's written there, please don't touch. So simple. But still we like to touch, in spite of it being written there. There is the instructions which we have to follow. But very often the pull of the sense of touch is so strong that the mind is pulled there automatically, very easily. And the hands begin to move and you start touching it. Maybe feeling the texture, feeling the smoothness, Actually, it's nothing that you're going to buy it. And you don't have to touch it. It's not needed. And you're instructed not to touch, but still we touch it. Sometimes it happens, someone is a diabetic patient, and he's told, don't eat sugar. But when he sees a gulab jamun, what happens? That sense of the tongue, taste, it pulls the mind. And the mind, when it's pulled, then the intellect is pulled by the mind. Then the intellect will say, oh, doesn't matter. If it's, there is no harm in eating little more sugar. Or maybe if your sugar increases, then take some more tablet, like that. So intellect is very intelligent and it gives a way out how you can be freed from it. But then that means that the intellect is pulled by the mind and the mind is pulled by the senses. And then of course sanskars are there. The sanskars of the past births are so dominant that they automatically overcome everything, and the result is one becomes a prey of the senses. So this is why Baba gives us a wonderful yukti. He says, you are not the body at all. How soul consciousness helps us to become the kings, the masters. When I am not the senses at all, then that means as I'm different from the senses, definitely I can make my senses subservient to me, under me. But if I consider myself to be a body, that means I'm the senses, body means the senses. And then they become the masters. And therefore Baba says, you are not the body, but you are a soul. And that's what Baba says, you have to be aware of this all the time. Only then I can become the master of my senses. And then the master of the mind. Sometimes what we don't want to think, the mind thinks about that. What we want to think, we just cannot think. It's very strange. What I want to forget, I can't forget. And what I want to remember, I can't remember. But as we say, master of the mind means, whatever I want to remember, I should be able to remember. And what I want to forget, I should be able to forget. This is Dadi Janki's speciality. Dadi Janki was once asked, Dadi, how do you remember so many things? You have so many things on your head. How do you remember? Dadi says, I don't remember everything. I don't have to. But then Dadi, whenever we tell you something, you remember it very well. How do you do it? And Dadi says, whatever I have to remember, I can remember. And what I have to forget, I can forget in an instance. And therefore I don't lose my time, I don't lose my mental energy. I don't lose, my aim. That's why I'm able to forget what I want to forget and remember what I want to remember. But here we forget our aim. We forget why we have come. We forget what are we here for. Why are we here in this world? Then comes, why are we with Baba? So, because we forget all this, what we should not forget, the result is the mind becomes like a vagabond. And therefore Baba teaches us what Baba was saying in today's Murli. First of all, in the blessing, faith in the self, faith in Baba, and faith in the drama. Faith leads to victory. So when I say faith in the self, definitely it means the awareness of my true self. Because faith will lead to that. Just knowledge alone is not enough. I have knowledge of many things, but to strengthen that knowledge, I need to have the faith in it. And when I have the faith in it, definitely the awareness will be constant. And when the awareness is constant, I'll be the embodiment of it easily. So faith in the self and then faith in the drama, faith in Baba will definitely make us carefree kings. The greatest fear which any human being ever has is the fear of death, That is the ultimate, ultimate fear. There could be so many types of fears. There's a long list of fear. Fear of darkness, fear of wild animals, fear of even, small cockroaches and insects and whatnot, fear of people too. We're afraid of some people. We are afraid of so many things. But the top fear, the highest in that list of fear, is the fear of death. Why are we afraid of people? He may kill me. Why are we afraid of wild animals? They may kill me. So I may be afraid of maybe darkness. But then why am I afraid of darkness? I may fall down. And what if I fall down? Why am I afraid of falling down? I'll break my bones. You can go on and on. Just like we ask a question. There are so many questions of this type. What do you wish to achieve? What do you wish to get in life? And somebody may say, I want to get money, wealth. And why do you want wealth? So that I can live comfortably. Why do you want to live comfortably? And then ultimately the answer will come: peace, happiness, all the subtle qualities of the soul. That is the ultimate answer. There's nothing beyond that: peace, happiness. Because that's what we're all striving for. Similarly, when you ask questions about fear, why are you afraid of this? Why of that? Why? Ultimately, the answer will be the fear of death. Because there's nothing beyond death. Death means finished. That's all. It's the end. Somebody is in his deathbed. The doctor tries very hard to help him, to make him survive. And then after all the efforts, ultimately he dies. Finished. All efforts over. That's the end. What more efforts can you do? Death. That's the end. So Baba says, the ultimate fear or the greatest fear is the fear of death. And once I have the knowledge of the soul, this fear is finished instantly. And if there is this fear, definitely it is ignorance of the self. I'm going to die. So common to say in our language, I'll die. Some people, especially in the world, whenever they experience any sorrow, I want to die. I want to die. This language has become so common because the true happiness isn't there. But as Baba's children, we can never say that. I want to die. Will anybody say that? Will this ever come out of our mouth? I want to die. But it's so common in the world today because the sorrow and suffering is increasing and increasing. And therefore they think that death is the solution to that. And we tell them the bitter truth. What is the bitter truth in this? That if you cannot experience happiness in life, if you cannot experience peace in life, you can never experience peace and happiness even after death. No? Is it not? This is a bitter truth. Why one cannot experience peace and happiness after death if he cannot experience it before death? Because the sanskar of peace or peacelessness or happiness or unhappiness are with the soul, are in the soul. And if they are in life, they will continue with the soul, wherever the soul goes. So I'll get peace after death. It doesn't. It means, the body will get peace naturally after death. It's cremated or buried, finished. All the 5 elements mix with the 5 elements of the body. The 5 elements of the body mix with the unlimited elements. But then the soul is the one which is to experience peace or happiness. And if it doesn't experience in this life, it will never experience after death too, or after leaving the body too. And therefore there's a saying, happiness is not is not in the destination. Happiness is during the journey. It's a very interesting saying. Happiness is not to be found at the destination. So if I am having happiness during my journey, I'll find it even at my destination. Because I am an embodiment of happiness. So the knowledge of the soul gives us this experience of being fearless, overcoming the fear of death. Very often, we see there are so many reasons why people are afraid of death, not just one reason. I give a list of reasons. One reason is, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Oh, I'll die. This word has become very common. I want to die is the second statement. But the first, I'll die if I do this. I'll die. So that I'll die because the awareness of the self is that I'm this body. And the body consciousness is so, strong. It's like wearing very tight clothes. When somebody wears very tight clothes, it's so difficult to remove them, tight pajamas, tight pants, tight sort of trousers, everything tight. It's so difficult to remove. Sometimes it's so tight that one has to rip it off, in order to take it off. So, Baba also says that this body consciousness is so strong that the fear of death is easily there. And that's why the practice of soul consciousness. Just go beyond the consciousness of the body. I'm a soul, I'm a point of light, I'm a point of light, I'm eternal, I'm immortal, I'm imperishable. And this practice is so lovely, so interesting, so beautiful that really at the time of leaving the body, Baba sometimes gives an example of hair in butter. It's so easy for one to remove hair from butter, But if that hair is stuck in a chapati or maybe in bread or something which is hard and there's some hair in it, and you're trying to remove it, it won't come out fully, it won't come out in its full length. It'll break. It'll break because part of it will remain in that. And then again you have to remove it, again you have to take it out. But if it's in butter, then in instance it comes out. So it's like when the end will come, the soul will leave the body with ease because it is already in a soul conscious stage. And that's why the practice of soul consciousness is very, very essential. Then the other reason why people are afraid of death is because of attachments. The attachments are so strong that they don't want to give up. Even though they know that they have to die, it's not so easy to commit suicide. The attachments are so strong. But if somebody does commit suicide, it definitely means that it must have been such a drastic decision to finish off all the attachments and commit suicide. Otherwise, it's not so easy to give up attachments. Attachment to the belongings, attachment to people. The attachment to belongings may be very easy to give up. It's so easy. It's not difficult. Okay, it doesn't belong to me, it doesn't matter. The attachment to people is even more difficult. Why? Because there are karmic accounts with souls. And because of those karmic accounts, the attachment becomes so strong that even if you want to give up, it's sometimes so difficult to forget. It's so difficult to forget because of those karmic accounts. And this is why Baba has told us the easy method. First of all, nothing belongs to you. Very often Baba tells us that you can practice. If at this moment I leave the body, will I remember anything? Will I remember any objects? Am I attached to anything really? Will I remember anybody? I can test myself. Do I have any pulls? Do I have any attractions? Because Baba says that will be the final test. It'll come in my way. My weakness will become a very big obstruction at the end. Maya comes through that gate of weakness. It's just like they say, there's a saying that the strength of a chain, any chain, depends on its weakest link. The link. The chain has those different links. The weakest link, that is the strength of that chain. The strength of a wall is the strength of its weakest brick. And if that brick breaks, the wall falls. If that link of the chain, if that breaks, the chain no longer is a chain. And therefore our weakest point will deceive me. And therefore Baba says, you have to go beyond. And when I'm able to experience that I'm